Jennifer back again with part two. And we're calling this part Selected Scenes from the End of the World. And a side note that is an excellent album by the Gothic band London After Midnight. Dreams of the Apocalypse. The first dream concerning the apocalypse occurred or was recorded on August 30th, 1992, when I would have been 16, I think. Math hard. I'm old. There was a lot of symbolism in this dream, as well as the recurrent vision of the living death, the illness, and plague. Everything in the world was bad, and everyone was against each other. No one cared. Well, that sounds familiar. The symbolic chain of events began with a baby that was executed, and then the mother was accidentally executed, symbolizing the innocence in the baby and the mother, and the end of innocence and goodness. And in the end, innocence, goodness doesn't count. Then there was the living death illness. This kind of like something that came through in dreams from apparently 1992 into beyond. There was the living death illness. These people were alive and living, yet their bodies were continually decayed. They were not zombies. A man was lying with his head on the sink, and there were slugs and roaches and maggots coming out of his mouth. Ew. They were crawling all over him. There was 4 or 5 men sitting outside this decaying old building, and there was a lot of garbage around, and one of the men had bugs crawling all over him. But he was still alive, like the first man described. He ran away screaming and yelling. Everyone was told that the end of the world was coming, but no one believed. The date of Armageddon was supposed to be June 18th. Figures it would be during Gemini season. No one believed. Then the signs of the apocalypse start happening, like in the book of Revelation from the Bible. There were massive earthquakes, and the earth ripped open. The seas and oceans died, and all the. Now, mind you, at the time that I wrote that this happened in 1992, I was actually still in Catholic high school, so frames of reference. So all the signs of the apocalypse prevailed. One part of the dream dealt with Africa. Africa had already been through the apocalypse many years ago, and all the people who were left were survivors. They were supposed to rebuild, but the land was dead. I guess deserts are dead land. I was 16. What the hell do I know? Also, one of the previous signs of the apocalypse was that the pyramids crumbled. There was a chain of symbolic events that led up to the apocalypse. There was a leader who was leading the world to its demise. Everyone was so ignorant of the signs. Then the final day came. In the dream, I remember trying to frantically pack all my belongings into my chest of drawers, which I think we were supposed to do for some reason. I felt like I was caught up in a tornado. The room was spinning and all life was turning to death. And then I believed that this was the end. Then it stopped. Everything was gone. Everybody died except me. I started screaming and crying, why? I was still alive on earth. I was not accepted into heaven because I did not believe in God and denied religion. Because in 1991, I became a fuck you Catholic Church atheist. And I've always been into the witchy shit, as this series is illustrating. I remember for some reason carrying a like mannequin dummy head around, and I went downstairs. This was at my parents' house. I saw my dad. He was still alive because he didn't believe either. There were 2 other people. I don't know who they were, but they were all carrying the dummy mannequin heads with them. After this, everyone aged about 20 years. We were, in the way, chosen ones left to rebuild and live on Earth. This dream was one of the first in a long string of apocalypse-based dreams. So, this one is called Fragments of Dreams Relating to the End of the World. This is from November 1995. Recurrent dreams about diseases, which I can only describe as the living death. These people would be infected, decaying, but they were still alive. They were not zombies. They had gross aberrations. Their flesh would rot away. You could see their bones, their muscles, and blood vessels were all dried. Their bodies had died, but they had continued to live. So now to October 1999. Recent thoughts on the apocalypse, quote unquote, the change, more scenes from the end of the world. It would be too obvious if the world came to the end on January 1st, 2001. Oh, yeah, because it's technically when the millennium started. I'm sure we will look back and laugh at all of the media hype and hysteria, or maybe not. We laughed. I do believe we are coming upon a change, not necessarily an apocalypse, in quotes. Ideations of the change are based on, this is what I kind of went through in the when I was in the previous video when I was giving you the what was in this book. So we have the plague, quote unquote, living death, the fall of Christianity, fall of political structure, fall of America due to economic collapse, which seems kind of likely at this point. Japan, earthquake in Tokyo, all this mentions 2009. Although 2011, that was when they had the massive earthquake and tsunami there. Reversal of past mistakes. I don't really know what I mean by reversal of that, but I have noted inquisitions and holocausts. 4.7 billion people die, plagues, wars, loss of technology, revolutions, final rebirth after all the turmoil after 2013, reversion to the old ways, worship of earth and nature. America will fall because all great empires fall. Ignorance kills. Hollywood equals worship of false gods and icons. Too preoccupied with things that don't matter. Empty lives filled with possession. So I just basically what this is the sort of how I transcribed all the, you know, random stuff that was written all over the place in this book. So hooray for that. On the next page. Too preoccupied with the physical world. Spiritual world is being ignored. Well, that would explain a lot about millennials and Gen Z. Human beings are being born soulless, without consciences and without spirit. Sorry, millennials and Gen Z. I kid. Or do I? Do you have no soul? Anyways, sorry, it's just kind of funny now in retrospect. Because if you were born in 1999, you are 24. Wow, you're the age I was when I wrote this. Weird. Anyway, civil wars in America. Yeah, that's likely. Or happening, literally. Sleep of ages, revolutions. There will be natural disasters of unprecedented magnitude. So I start talking about, these are just my predictions. So kind of when I wrote this, I was like, well, if all these people can make predictions about the end of the world, so can I. And I'm going to do this just to prove that it's all bullshit and to prove them wrong, because none of this stuff will come true or ever be relevant. Oops, my bad. So anyways, Los Angeles will finally succumb to the earthquake. Part of the land will separate from the original landmass, but become like Los Angeles Island. So not literally fall into the sea as everyone as everyone has predicted in the past. The new Rome will fall. Some islands in the Pacific and Caribbean will be devastated and abandoned by typhoons and hurricanes. Well, we saw in 2004 how bad that tsunami did the Pacific in. The sleeping fire eaters will be reawakened. I have no idea what that means. Again, the pyramids will crumble. Africa will play an integral role in the change. So despite the fact I wrote China plague in the original book, I said plague originates there. World air travel will make epidemics spread faster. True. After the fall, the world will be reborn. So again, I go into the details of the living death. The body rots, the skin dries up, turns black, opens up, the blood and muscles and inner structure dry up. The body decays and dies, yet the mind stays intact. The body remains mobile. Some wars will be waged, but not nuclear. More hand-to-hand combat, more civil wars. Christianity will fall, churches will burn. In parentheses, fascism, misspelled, but anyways, the church will pay for the centuries of corruption. And hopefully the cities that are sitting ducks: New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New Orleans. One day money will mean nothing. Knowledge, skill, barter will save. Well, great. Although, yay, capitalism ends. Woo! After 2013, the new dark ages. Yeah. The mass death. After plagues, after wars, the survivors will remain and rebuild. Some technology will be lost. Let it be social media. Let it be social media. Let it be social media. Social media didn't exist back then. So, revival of pre Christian religions, unity and acceptance of all peoples, equalities. Tribal dwellings in the sides of mountains, caves, possibly below ground. The saved technology will feed us. Cycles of death and rebirth. There will be no need for kings, presidents, or dictators. We will survive. The world will not be totally destroyed. Some goods will be salvageable. More of a change. Society becomes matriarchal again. Rebirth of the goddess. Change. Save that which matters. Art, literature, music, knowledge. Changes in landmass. Deluge, question mark. Antarctica, question mark. Coastlines change. So now here, this is interesting because it changes again. Africa is lost, uninhabitable wasteland. A generation will be lost. The apocalypse generation. The generation that can only function in technology. Sorry again, millennials and Zoomers. Sorry. Japan will be mostly obliterated. Earthquake in Tokyo, 8 plus. World economic collapse. 5742. I don't. Oh, okay. That's about like Israel in the Middle East. So maybe that's a year in the Jewish calendar. Da, 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 da. Yep, China plague noted on there. Yeah. There's some stuff about the Middle East, which is interesting because this is all like pre 9/11, pre us going back to Iraq and Afghanistan. So, um, let's see. Human clone science tries to create perfections and fails. New Frankensteins. We cannot play God, and you cannot become a living God either. So, new religion, revival of the old pagan gods and goddesses. Religion mixed with the remnants of Judaica, Buddhism, and Eastern thought. Underground dwellings, not permanent, for safety due to devastation and pollution. There will not be enough money or order to fight a technological war. Wars will be based on personal military. Wars will be isolated and personal. Military disintegrates. Yay! This is interesting about technological wars because you have to realize back in 1999, I mean, fucking hell, I was on a 14.4 baud modem dial up on AOL. So, this is pre .com boom shit and all that. Although I think my eBay account was created in 1999. So, wow, my eBay account is really old. Anywho, why does Christianity fail? The new pope, new corruption. Pope John Paul dies. New persecutions, new inquisitions, all religions, new fascism, tyranny, based in blood, wars and death will fall. And then I wrote some numbers: 19-87.3.0718. If anyone knows anything about numerology, help a sister out because either that's 1987, 37, 307. I don't know. So it could be the year 1987 and the time of 3:07, 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 18 seconds, or March 7th, 18. I don't know. So, anyways, a change will occur geologically. Safe cities are Boston, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Chicago, Dallas. Safe places: Alaska, Montana, Arizona, Vermont, Wyoming. Safe countries: Norway, Sweden, Finland, Switzerland. Oh, well, hey, there you go. Saddam Hussein dies, executed by one of his own, inside job, assassination. It was close. I forget what year it was, but Now, again, remember, this is before 9/11, before we went back to Iraq and Afghanistan. I think I had it in 2006. I don't remember what he'd actually, I'd have to look it up. I know building the New Jerusalem. Uh, ooh, sorry, this next part's a little. Bodies need to be burned to avoid the spread of infection plagues. Hi, 2020. 1% of the population will be immune. Some will overcome and be scarred, saved. I don't know. Population will keep skyrocketing, greater disasters, more people, more equals more death. Children will be the new evil. Sorry, but Zoomers and Millennials, I guess I just did not. I don't know. They do not know murder is wrong. Well, with the rise of school shootings, it does not seem to be incorrect. Death is real. They do not know that death is permanent. Okay, just adding a sidebar on the school pew-pewings that have happened. Now, to this point in time, like this was like the same year like Columbine happened. That was kind of like the first big one. I mean, there were school pew-pewings before. There was one like in the mid 90s and I think Paducah, somewhere in the Midwest, Kansas maybe. But they were very infrequent. So, kind of writing about that and the way we've seen certain things happening since then involving the type of Columbine experience. Little militias hold mini wars and will eventually kill each other off. Well, hooray for that. Survival of the fittest. The weak equal the children, elderly, sick, and uneducated. That's kind of been true throughout the history of time. Yay. We have begun the dance of death. The music cannot be turned off nor changed at any time. The music can be turned off or changed at any time. Seeing people will predict final unity of all people, anarchical law, no sanctioned government, no mainstream religion, no law enforcement, ACAB for life, unilateral. Well, that sounds kind of nice. We get our little anarcho-communist future, and everything's all spectacular because there's no more capitalism or mainstream religion or government. Whee! If we see the direction we are heading, we can stop, we can change. Many people will foresee coming events, different variations, similarities. So apparently, well, that's where I left off on that. Or maybe not. Let's see. Where are we? This looks like a poem. Oh, these are some soliloquies. Huh. Interesting. I did not know I knew what that was back then. This is called Soliloquies for November. Centuries draw to a close. We've seen the change of millennia before. In the heart of Egypt, love never dies. Twin souls, that was it. I did not know that was a thing. Twin souls cast heavy shadows, and our eyes tell of century after century of love never dies. This dream, which is a great song by Pop Tigma Berserk, if you have not heard it. This dream again plagues me. Upon waking, I breathe you in like the air that filters through my lungs. In absentia, I long to be united again. One body, one soul. Dreams cannot manifest reality. I have learned to see beyond the veil. I see your eyes shaded in blue, blue like the drowning, blue like the sky opening up. Assumption. What dreams I have had of you. I called you home, a place where I belong. Alas, but not in this incarnation. I do not want to die, but I will someday. I want the rebirth, and I want to meet you again in another incarnation. Eternal life gives those chosen. I don't know why I'm like almost crying now. Form of immaculate light. Seen in dreams, your voice echoes. I know where I belong. but I can't make it happen. Someday you shall realize our connection, and past burning like eternal flame. I shall return again and again, angel with cast black wings and dreams. We can consummate the sacred bond in years past and fast forward. I can have your body, but I can't have your soul nor your spirit, ensconced in pure white light without shadow. I can dream and dream, realities be what they may, jagged flashes of memories. If only tonight I could sleep in your arms. Damn. Need a minute. A little bit. Okay, so I had written here about my spirit guides. So the first one was Seth Akhemet. I think I had combined Set and Sekhmet. Male, probably Egyptian, very powerful. Main figure, protector, guardian. Mina Ka, female, possibly Egyptian. Emotions and love. Tia Samesha was a Babylonian child. An Absteru, Babylonian, Assyrian child. Prophecy, visioning, growth, spiritual growth. Egypt is calling. 4754. Well, I'm 47 right now, so what the 54 is, I don't know. I keep feeling drawn towards ancient Egypt as of late, like a past life kind of vision. Knowing that I had many past lives, for some reason I feel drawn there. We weren't pharaohs, possibly priest and priestess by the river Nile, highly jeweled and ornate, fire and warmth, our bodies painted gold, spirits dwell, serpents coil, bodies lay side by side, high priest and priestess, temple of Isis and Osiris, Meshkent. Even though we loved each other sacredly and worshipped each other, I committed adultery with a slave or some lower caste class. He drowned me in the river Nile and then killed himself with the golden blade. That happened in another past life. Well, sort of. Interesting. I have searched century after century for his redemption. I am drowned. I am doomed to walk in eternity to find his love again. There was another past life, and this was more recent. Man, that's some deep karmic wound. But it was still but it was trying to remember. I think it was like either a Greek or Roman soldier. I was there. May have been wounded in battle. He may have been wounded in battle, and because he had like a chest wound. With a blade, and then I think I killed myself with the same blade after he died, and then we both fell into the grass or something. Yeah, past lives, grim shit. And here's where I did my astrological chart, which I got my rising sign wrong. I originally thought, or my moon sign. Oh, my moon and rising I got wrong. I thought they were both Aries. They're Pisces. Explains a lot. I'm a very watery, air sign. But again, as I talked about in my, what's it called? My last live stream, back in the day, we had to use this book to do our freaking astrological charts. It's called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need. And one of the few books I've had for that long and not lost or somehow destroyed. So I think that's probably where I'm going to end this, because now this goes into something I wrote based on Arthur Rimbaud's On Saison in for a Season in Hell. So, anyways, I'm gonna read through that, see if it's any relevant. It may just be me writing bad goth poetry, as I was wont to do back then. So, anyways, I'm gonna just plop that there. I will find a bookmark soon. Um, yeah. So that's part two of yet another This Old Witch Journal. I never thought I would be reading this shit on to anyone really. Let alone, well, YouTube didn't exist back then and the internet was, kind of in its infancy or didn't exist, depending on what year I wrote stuff. So, yeah. So I'm kind of tired after reading all that spent. But don't forget to click like and subscribe. I love you all. And I don't know if I'll be back with that one or we'll start delving into the next book. Actually, this is a picture of me. Oh man, I missed that. I used to have a barbed wire. This is actually barbed wire, like kind of like a crown of thorns. Those barbed wire. I don't know if I still have that. Would get the barbs would get tangled in my hair, so it was kind of a pain to wear. But anyways, love you all. Thank you for indulging me. And I know some people love to hear these origin stories and stuff like that. So thankfully, my crazy ass wrote shit down. So woo! I'll see you again for the next installment. Bye.